I've never seen an organization more committed to self-imploding than the WNBA.
Brittney Griner elbowing Caitlin Clark in a crazy way and then calling her a trash white girl.
A few weeks ago, I made this video highlighting how it appears Brittney Griner said bleep white girl after fouling out in a game against Indiana Fever.
Brittney Griner appeared to call Caitlin Clark trash and effing white girl.
She's the Rookie of the Year. She's 4th in the league in MVP voting.
The team that Caitlin Clark plays for. Some people like Jemele Hill, former ESPN host, says that no, she didn't say bleep white girl. She says bleep whack call. To which she then went on to call me a grifter for even pointing this out, but besides the point.
Brittney Griner is, in fact, a man.
Just 2 minutes ago, the internet erupted again. But this time, it wasn't Caitlin Clark draining threes or Brittney Griner fouling out.
Are you ready for one flight?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's not a woman. That's not a female. That's not even a trans person. That is a man. Like, that's a legit biological man.
No, this was Riley Gaines, the outspoken Olympic swimmer, absolutely torching the WNBA's credibility with one savage takedown that left no doubt where she stands.
I showed the video to my coworker and I asked him, hey, do you know this person? Do you know who this is? And he said, no, I don't know who this guy is. Which is funny because me and him were discussing Brittney Griner and he was defending Brittney Griner and saying that she should be released. And he was shocked that that was indeed the Brittney Griner because it was definitely a man.
After Brittney Griner was caught on video allegedly making a racially charged comment toward Caitlin Clark, the league went silent, but Riley didn't.
Brittney Griner, who was imprisoned in Russia, in a man's prison.
Brittney Griner has 2 of the worst, dumbest fouls I've ever seen in basketball.
She stepped in and dropped a truth bomb that rocked the entire WNBA to its core, calling out double standards, media hypocrisy, and Griner's controversial past in one brutal blow.
It's not certain what Griner says. There is one way to find out. Ask Brittney Griner. However, no one has done that except for Outkick.
And just like that, Riley Gaines humiliated Brittney Griner not with a basketball, but with facts, moral authority, and fearless conviction. Her message? If you're going to attack Caitlin Clark, be ready for the backlash.
She says, bleep whack call. To which she then went on to call me a grifter for even pointing this out, but besides the point. You can watch and make up your own mind as to what it appears Brittney Griner is saying.
This wasn't just a clapback. This was a public reckoning. You ready for the full story? Because what just happened changes everything.
Brittney Griner has 2 of the worst, dumbest fouls I've ever seen in basketball. I mean, it's just, they look like intentional fouls, particularly the second one. She basically elbowed Aaliyah Boston in the neck for no reason. 2 minutes into the game.
It all started during a heated WNBA matchup between Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever and Brittney Griner's Atlanta Dream. Late in the 4th quarter, Griner fouled out. Cameras caught her storming off the court, frustrated, animated, and then came the moment that set the internet on fire.
And Brittney Griner has not commented, which I find significant. I've watched that video countless times, and it sure looks like Brittney Griner says, fucking white girl.
As she walked past the bench, many viewers claimed they clearly heard her say something that sounded a lot like trash white girl. The target, Caitlin Clark. Immediately, the footage went viral. Outrage exploded online, and fans demanded answers.
Brittney Griner, who I can't stand, sad that she's a Baylor grad. She called her a trash expletive white girl. That was the lip reading. Yes, trash white girl. Trash blanking white girl is what she says.
But instead of investigating, the WNBA fell silent. No statements, no clarity, just spin.
Some people like Jemele Hill, former ESPN host, says that no, she didn't say bleep white girl. She says bleep whack call.
Prominent voices in sports media, like former ESPN host Jemele Hill, jumped to Griner's defense, claiming she said something else entirely, like whack call. But when viewers watched the footage for themselves, the lip readers and body language didn't lie.
The WNBA has come out numerous times. There's no place for hate. There's no place for racism.
Let's see an investigation into reverse racism that's going on across the league also.
The court of public opinion wasn't buying the excuses. That's when Riley Gaines stepped into the ring. A decorated swimmer who's become a fierce advocate for women's sports, Gaines saw the video and the silence that followed, and she wasn't about to sit this one out. She blasted the WNBA's hypocrisy wide open.
Brittney Griner has two of the worst, dumbest fouls I've ever seen in basketball. I mean, it's just, they look like intentional fouls, particularly the second one. She basically elbowed Aaliyah Boston in the neck for no reason.
While the league was quick to investigate baseless race hoax claims made against Caitlin Clark's fans, they turned a blind eye when one of their own superstars was caught on video making what appeared to be a racially loaded insult. And Gaines didn't just call out Griner. She questioned why a player who was once rescued from a Russian prison in a high-profile government deal.
There was nothing mentioned about Brittney being in a male prison. I wonder why. Are they trying to withhold this information for any particular reason? I mean, that's what I would assume, right? But you can really only find evidence of it in passing. It's literally just mentioned in passing in a bunch of articles, but no one really hones in on it. Now, if this was actually a woman who was put in a male Russian prison, one would think that there would be entire articles dedicated to this, an entire Netflix series, honestly, in today's social justice world, right?
Was now turning around and disrespecting an American athlete. You kneeled during the anthem after your country fought to bring you home? Gaines asked bluntly. Have some respect for the country that saved you. What followed was not just criticism, it was a dismantling.
Instead, the WNBA was investigating a bogus race hoax made up by Angel Reese about Indiana Fever fans. And I say bogus because they found no evidence that supports Angel Reese's claims. So we at Outkick applied for media credentials to cover Brittney Griner's team, the Atlanta Dreams, game on June 6th, to which, shocker, they denied us.
Riley Gaines connected every dot the league was trying to erase. She called out the WNBA for protecting players who pushed divisive narratives while throwing others, like Clark, under the bus. In that moment, she became the voice saying what millions were thinking.
We've never had trouble getting media credentials with any professional sports league in the past, but wouldn't you know, now they suddenly have very limited space, which is total baloney. They just want to suppress any sort of uncomfortable inquiries from media. Regardless, we at Outkick are going to keep asking the tough questions, the questions that people want the answer to.
What made Riley Gaines' response so powerful wasn't just what she said, it was who she is. This wasn't just another social media hot take.
It breaks my heart. I am so proud of the girls. There are a handful of girls now who are suing their state's attorney general and the high school sports governing body that has allowed this to happen because of their discriminatory policies that exclude women from the women's category. Cannot believe.
Riley is someone who has lived through the fight for fairness in women's sports.
That this person is not a female. Firstly, because this was actually posted to Brittney's personal Instagram. And when it comes to Instagram, they use a combination of like AI detection and plus manual surveyors, but specifically the AI detection to make sure that no explicit content ends up on the platform. So clearly whatever AI detection system was used when Brittney posted this and it stayed up for 106 weeks was not like, oh, this is a bare female chest, we have to take this down. It obviously assumed that Brittney was male. And
as a top-tier swimmer, she went head-to-head with biological males in women's competitions. She's been ridiculed, attacked, and silenced by mainstream media for defending female athletes. And now, seeing that same pattern unfold with Caitlin Clark in the WNBA, she couldn't stay quiet. Gaines didn't hold back. She dropped a series of blistering statements that went straight for the WNBA's throat, accusing the league of enforcing double standards and protecting certain narratives over the truth. I've never seen an organization more committed to self-imploding than the WNBA, she declared, and she wasn't exaggerating. While the league poured resources into investigating false allegations made by Angel Reese against Indiana Fever fans, allegations that turned up zero evidence, they completely ignored the real videotaped controversy involving Griner.
Brittney is a weird case. He's a man, yes, that much is obvious, but not in the way that you think. He isn't trans. He's a straight cis male who was raised as a girl and given a girl's name by his parents. His mother is the insane one. She forced him to live as a female right up through high school, filled out all of his paperwork, including BC as female, and kept the charade going.
There was no investigation, no accountability, no effort to clarify what Griner said or to ask her directly. In fact, when the sports outlet Outkick tried to get media credentials to confront Griner with a simple question, the WNBA denied them access. Why? Because the league didn't want to deal with the truth. They weren't interested in protecting the integrity of the game. They were interested in protecting their narrative.
Instead, the WNBA was investigating a bogus race hoax made up by Angel Reese about Indiana Fever fans. And I say bogus because they found no evidence that supports Angel Reese's claims. So we at Outkick applied for media credentials to cover Brittney Griner's team, the Atlanta Dream's, game on June 6th. To which, shocker, they denied us. We've never had trouble getting media credentials with any professional sports league in the past, but wouldn't you know, now they suddenly have very limited space, which is total baloney. They just want to suppress any sort of uncomfortable inquiries from media. Regardless, we at Outkick are going to keep asking the tough questions, the questions that people want the answer to.
It breaks my heart. I am so proud of the girls. There are a handful of girls now who are suing their state's attorney general and the high school sports governing body that has allowed this to happen because of their discriminatory policies that exclude women from the women's category. Cannot believe.
Riley Gaines knew that, and she exposed it. She pointed out the absurd reality. If Caitlin Clark had been the one caught on video saying something racially offensive about Griner, the media would have gone nuclear. Sponsors would have fled. The league would have suspended her on the spot. But because it was Griner, and because the comment was aimed at Clark, the league chose silence.
If you have that mindset that I'm entitled, that we're victims, that we're owed a debt, that we should be getting paid the same millions of dollars as men, that's a recipe for corruption.
Gaines turned that silence into a megaphone. She reminded the public that Griner wasn't just another player. This is the same person the U.S. government exchanged for Victor Bout, a notorious international arms dealer nicknamed the Merchant of Death. And yet, instead of showing gratitude and respect for the country that fought to bring her home, Griner knelt during the national anthem.
And a lot of comments were supporting my idea as well. And that really made me wonder, was she detained in Russia was she really detained because of those drugs or whatever? Or was there some other reason?
Then she allegedly made a racial slur about the woman who has brought more attention, ticket sales, and fans to the WNBA than any player in recent memory. Riley's message was clear. If this is the kind of behavior the WNBA condones, then maybe it deserves to collapse, because you can't grow a sport by tearing down the very person who's saving it. By the time Riley Gaines finished speaking, the damage was already done, not to Caitlin Clark, but to the WNBA itself. Because Gaines didn't just call out Brittney Griner, she peeled back the entire facade and revealed what many fans had long suspected, that the league is no longer about fairness, integrity, or celebrating athletic excellence. It's about protecting a chosen few, even if that means betraying its biggest star. The timing couldn't have been worse for the WNBA. Just as Caitlin Clark was pulling record-breaking crowds, filling arenas, and sparking unprecedented interest in women's basketball, the league's own decisions began to undercut her.
That she's sick of the event. And then she says, the whole thing is toxic. I saw a guy with his daughter in the crowd, both of them yelling, couldn't hear what they were saying exactly, but it was either about my performance or some light racism, definitely one of the two.
Instead of championing Clark as the generational talent she is, they allowed her to be targeted, mocked, hit hard on the court, and, as seen in that viral video, potentially insulted based on her race. And they did nothing. Then came the media blackout. When Outkick requested press credentials to ask Griner a simple, fair question, "What exactly did you say?" they were shut down, denied, silenced. And this wasn't some random blog. Outkick has had access to professional sports events before. The denial was deliberate.
Doesn't the WNBA have an onus of responsibility to be able to ensure that it's fair playership, though? I don't know if playership's a word, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, for college sports and for the WNBA, too, 100%. I mean, I don't think it's ever okay for guys to be playing girl sports, but if this is true, then she was like the origin of this epidemic, and maybe it was like all planned to get sensitized to some huge bitch playing with other.
But will we see the day where we see a woman in the NBA or a man in the WNBA claiming to be a woman?
That's what made Riley's intervention so impactful. She didn't just shine a light on Griner's behavior, she exposed a system built on narrative control. She showed how the league will investigate phantom racism when it fits their agenda, but will look the other way when their own star is caught on video making inflammatory remarks. This is more than a controversy. It's a crisis of credibility. And Riley Gaines made sure the world saw it. She connected every thread. The league's failure to protect Clark, the media's unwillingness to ask tough questions, the blatant favoritism, and the way political ideology has overtaken athletic principle.
Brittney Griner elbowing Caitlin Clark in a crazy way and then calling her a trash white girl.
And Brittney Griner has not commented, which I find significant. I've watched that video countless times, and it sure looks like Brittney Griner says, fucking white girl.
Brittney Griner appeared to call Caitlin Clark trash and effing white girl.
She wasn't speaking as a basketball player. She was speaking as someone who's been through the same fire in a different sport. And that gave her words gravity. She even reminded everyone that Griner's actions weren't just disrespectful, they were ungrateful. After the United States traded a dangerous arms dealer to bring her home, Griner has done little to show appreciation. Instead, she's used her platform to promote divisive politics and now allegedly demean the league's rising star. And while ESPN and other outlets continue to run cover, the public is waking up.
That she's sick of the event. And then she says, the whole thing is toxic. I saw a guy with his daughter in the crowd, both of them yelling, couldn't hear what they were saying exactly, but it was either about my performance or some light racism, definitely one of the two.
They've put on hold Caitlin Clark's marketing Nike career and signature shoe to cater to Asia Wilson. It's all a flop.
Actually a man, a biological man. So this is just my take on it. This is my conspiracy theory, if you wish. I have no proof of this.
Fans see what's happening, and thanks to Riley Gaines, now they can't unsee it. This wasn't a petty spat or a social media squabble. This was a turning point, a moment where the hypocrisy of the WNBA became too loud to ignore, and it took a swimmer, not a baller, to call game. Riley Gaines didn't just defend Caitlin Clark, she delivered a message the entire sports world needed to hear. Enough with the double standards, enough with the media silence, and enough with leagues protecting narratives instead of the truth.
This is great news for women's basketball, period.
That's nice.
And she was shooting the shit out of it.
Of course she was.
Right, so she was shooting the shit out of it.
They went the extra mile just to watch her play here.
In just a few powerful statements, Gaines flipped the spotlight onto the WNBA's hypocrisy and made sure everyone saw it, raw and unfiltered. And now the question isn't what Brittney Griner said. It's why no one in power seems willing to ask her. The league had a golden opportunity with Caitlin Clark to rebuild, rebrand, and reignite interest in women's basketball. But instead, it's chosen to play defense for the wrong team. If they keep heading down this path, Riley Gaines may not be the only one saying the WNBA is self-destructing. She might just be the first voice loud enough to make people finally listen. So what do you think? Did Riley Gaines go too far? Or was she just saying what millions of fans are already thinking? Drop a comment below and let your voice be heard. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a moment of truth in sports. This story isn't over, and you're going to want to be here for what comes next.